Hello and welcome to Nikolay's genetics lessons, and today's question is: if two genes are found to have a recombination frequency of 25%, what does this mean about the location of the two genes? And here's a variance to choose from. Take a look. Imagine that this is one chromosome and here's another homologous chromosome. One you got from the father side, another from the mother side. So let's say this is chromosome number 1. So chromosome number 1. So pair number 1, because all our chromosomes goes in pairs. Now let's say that you have here allele dominant A, and in the same locus on the other chromosome, which you inherit from the different parent, recessive allele A, and dominant allele B here, and recessive allele B here. Now imagine that recombination even happen here. So this is going to result in new recombinant chromosomes. Take a look. Now we are going to have dominant allele A here and recessive allele B here. And on the other chromosome we are going to have recessive allele A here and dominant allele B here. But what's going to happen if we are going to have here two crossing over? That means that again we are going to get the same two genotypes, dominant allele A and dominant allele B here, and also we are going to get another chromosome with recessive allele here and recessive allele B here. What if we are going to get three crossing over events? In this case we are going to get again this variant and this variant, which are going to be recombinant variants. What if we are going to have 4 crossing overs between gene A and B? In this case, we again are going to get those recombinant chromosomes, but from the point of view of allele A and B, they are going to be the same as two parental chromosomes. So now you have to understand that when between two genes we have even number of crossing over, we are going to get the same genotype. If an even number, for example 1, 3, 5 and so on, we are going to get a recombinant variance in the gametes. So you never can get recombination frequencies between two genes more than 50%, whether it's going to be new genotype or the same genotype, even if crossing over happen between two genes. So information that tell us that recombination frequency between two genes 50% tell us that these two genes are on the tips of the chromosome, and recombination frequency of 25% tell us that gene P somewhere in the middle. So for example here and here. In these cases you see recombination frequency is going to be half of this maximum distance. And recombination frequency directly correlates with the distance between gene. The greater the distance, the more probability that crossing over is going to happen between genes. The smaller the distance, the least probability of the crossing over. And if two genes are going to be very close to each other, no crossing over will happen between them, and we would say that these genes would be linked and would be inherited together. Now let's read our variants of the answers. Again, we are looking for frequency of the 25% of the recombination between two genes. And variant A, genes are located on the same chromosome and neither extremely close nor extremely apart. This is going to be our choice. But let's check other variants. The genes are on the different chromosomes. If genes would be on the different chromosomes, then we are going to get maximum number of recombination frequency, which is going to be 50%. Just the same as if two genes would be on the very tips of the same chromosome. Sometimes it's very hard to say. And variant C, the genes are linked. If genes are linked, that means that they're very close to each other and no crossing over happens, and they would be inherited together. So in this case, recombination frequency is going to be 0. And the last variant, D, the genes are located on the same chromosome and are on the opposite ends of the chromosome. As I said earlier, in this case we are going to get 50% recombination frequency, or very close to 50%, and it would be very hard to say whether these two genes are on the same chromosome on the very tips or on the different chromosomes, because 50% is the maximum recombination frequency, which can be between two genes on the same chromosome. Subscribe and see you in the next video.